Adam Schefter on the Saints head coach vacancy / Kellen Moore and the likelihood of Kellen Moore becoming the Saints head coach. This is on the Pat McAfee show. Now this is during an interesting time. Okay, this interview with Schefter happened exactly when the scandal or whatever, the news with the Saints and all that dropped. All right, so some of it, you do have to use some of that as context, and we covered that extensively in like a 40-minute video if you're wondering my take on that. But so keep that in mind. We'll mention it a few times, but it does need to be, some context does need to be provided. So let's go ahead and listen to what Schefter has to say as of yesterday.
Still remaining that is available in the NFL. Ty has a question for you, Schefter.
Schefter, where do we stand with the Saints job right now? Obviously, Mike McCarthy pulls his name out. He's going to be looking to the next year's cycle, and everything's kind of leaning towards, hey, this is basically going to be Kellen Moore's job. Has there been any movement on that? Is that the expectation that once the Super Bowl is over, Kellen Moore will become the head coach of the Saints, or what's going on there?
Let's spell this out, Ty, right?
Let's spell it out. Let's connect the dots, Schefter.
It's pretty simple. You and I have talked about this before. We did it this morning. We could stop the charade. What's going on here is that the New Orleans Saints wisely are going to be doing everything by the book, as they should be, because the last time
See, that's the context. That's the context that he's talking about with the well. That's what they're referencing.
Hold on. Let me rephrase that.
Yeah.
The New Orleans Saints, when it comes to this coaching hire, should be doing everything by the book, right?
Yeah.
All right. So last week we had a video talking about why is there this shroud of secrecy around this whole coaching thing, and we talked about because when you have all of your eggs in one basket, the basket is Kellen Moore. You're not going to do anything that could threaten those sweet, delicate eggs, especially with how expensive eggs are now, right? So, I mean, you make an omelet, all of a sudden it's $17. But, so the Saints are really, if you play poker, this is what we call in the business slow rolling. The Saints know they have the winning hand. The Saints know, I've got a royal flush. I don't really have to do anything. So they're willing to slow roll the table. They're willing to not bet overextend their bet size or anything like that to scare people away. They're not going to do anything. They're just going to let it all play out, slow roll the table, show the cards at the end, and then walk out of there. All right? That's what they're doing with the coaching search. Now, the whole scandal thing does throw a wrench into it because that's something that no one could have prepared for or known was about to happen, and how does Kellen Moore react to that news or whatever. So that is a wrinkle. But as far as the rest of it, the Saints have their guy. I think the way this is all shaping up, it sounds to me like the Saints feel very comfortable and very confident that Kellen Moore will be the next head coach, which would force, if you're comfortable and confident that he's going to be the guy after the Super Bowl, you can kind of kick your feet up and play this long game and slow roll everybody.
Got it. Yeah.
Let me rephrase that. Okay, I want to make sure we're accurate here.
Yes.
When it comes to this coaching hire, the Saints are going to do everything by the book because the last time the Eagles were in a Super Bowl in the host city was Arizona.
Yeah.
The Cardinals, there was evidence.
Yeah, the Jonathan Gannon tampering situation, cost a draft pick, whatever.
Evidence found that they tampered with the Eagles' defensive coordinator, Jonathan Gannon. The Eagles owner, Jeffrey Lurie, not happy. He pressed the issue, and draft compensation was awarded to the Eagles on draft night. So the league sided with the Philadelphia Eagles. Jeffrey Lurie knows what it's like. The Saints have been in the crosshairs with the NFL before, not the first time. And so the head of the Saints organization, Mickey Loomis, is going to do everything in his power when it comes to this coaching hire to follow the rules and go by the book and not talk to Kellen Moore until after the Super Bowl. Could it break down?
I also think there's also another side of it of where, the actual negotiation, right? Kellen might have said, look, I don't want to deal with this during Super Bowl week. Could you do me a favor and just kind of let's rehash this. Let's talk about some of the more technical things, or let's have a follow-up or whatever after the Super Bowl. Let me take care of what I have to take care of during Super Bowl week, and then we can talk about it. You have my word, whatever, handshake deal. That's another part. And Loomis might have said, sure, I respect that. I'm totally cool with you focusing on the game and focusing on your team and soaking it all in and enjoying the week. And, we don't want to put this extra pressure on you. We don't want to put this extra stress on you. Cool, right? So that's another side of it. Now that's just completely me assuming, but would not be surprised at all if that was a conversation that was had. And if Moore had that conversation, I respect Kellen Moore for that, for saying I want to prioritize things, I want to kind of compartmentalize. And I also respect Loomis and the front office for allowing Moore to do that.
And they not reach an agreement? Sure. Is that likely? No. Kellen Moore is going to have a chance to probably triple his salary, become a head coach, one of 32. And if the Saints were making any other move, whether it was hiring the Dolphins defensive coordinator Anthony Weaver, or the Giants offensive coordinator Mike Kafka, or their own interim head coach Darren, what are they waiting for? Why not go hire them right now? But they're not.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't the John Benet Ramsey case. Like, this is a pretty obvious whodunit. This is a pretty obvious, like, shut and dry case here of, all right, the dots are connecting. We have a pretty idea of what's going on. The only thing is this scandal. That's the only thing that could probably throw a wrench into this, is where it lands, it happens. Moore has to answer questions about it, has to hear about it. There's rumblings, probably the first time he's heard about this thing. And then he might say, I don't want to be associated with something like that. That's the only thing at this point that I believe could stop Kellen Moore from being the head coach of the New Orleans Saints come next Tuesday. All right. So that's where I'm at. Yesterday, I made a video where I said I think it's 50-50 right now. I think today I feel kind of the same. Today I feel like if Moore can get past the breaking news from The Guardian and all that, then I think he'll be the head coach. If that is a sticking point at all, I'd have some real doubts. But from the football side of things and from the last couple of weeks, it's Kellen Moore's job.
They're waiting, and they're waiting to talk to Kellen Moore, and they're waiting to make sure that they give the Eagles absolutely zero evidence that they've tampered with the guy until after the game. But the fact that they don't have a coach tells you everything you need to know about where this is going. Of course, barring a setback, he's going to be the guy. Could there be a setback? Sure.
I mean, exactly. Like, barring a setback, and the scandal could be the biggest setback possible. All right. Now, there's also a chance that the scandal it's a non-story as far as like this coaching search. It could be something where Moore hears about it, the conversations are had is completely, it's completely removed from the conversation. We don't know that, so I've got to keep reporting it, because when Schefter says, "Could there be a setback? Could there be this?" That is like the definition of a setback, right? An unforeseen scandal that puts the team in a very weird light. Does Kellen Moore want the very next story to be after that? Kellen Moore named head coach of the New Orleans Saints. Like, do you want to attach yourself to that team, that front office, all that stuff? That's a legitimate question. So it's just one of those things where we won't know until we know. Honestly, is where we're at. Like that is. This is where we're going to be for probably the remainder of Super Bowl week, is where we're going to be in this window of, well, all signs are pointing to Kellen Moore. But Kellen Moore has to sign on that dotted line. He has to make the agreement. And like Schefter said, if a setback gets involved, who knows?
There often are setbacks. Bill Belichick didn't wind up becoming the head coach of the Jets. Josh McDaniels didn't wind up becoming the head coach of the Colts. Liam Cohen didn't wind up becoming the coordinator of the Buccaneers. But barring any setbacks, we know where this is tracking, and we know where this is going. Let's not be oblivious to it.
Okay, congrats, Kelly Moe, if you end up becoming the head coach. And the Josh Josh McDaniels, Jim Irsay dumping party could have been settled with some Dove men care whole body. You know, if this. Did you ever get any confirmation on that story?
There you go. All right. I mean, is that what they're calling deodorant now? Deo? Whole body deo? You can't say deodorant? We're just shortening to deo? All right. I don't know. I don't use the spray stuff, man, especially like spray sunscreen. I just feel like there's no way it could possibly be even. I want like the actual cream, you know, slather it on so I know it's a clean, even layer. The spray, it's like, who the hell knows where it goes? How much of it just goes into the air? How much of it actually gets on you? Like, you know, how can you possibly regulate that? Schefter basically is saying what we've said, where, yep, everything lines up. Kellen Moore should be projected to be the head coach, but until it is final, until it is breaking news, Kellen Moore, next head coach of the Saints, there are always going to be factors that you can point at and say, well, what about this? So I'm fingers crossed over here. Fingers crossed. I want Kellen Moore to be the next head coach of the New Orleans Saints, and anything else, honestly, would be devastating. Anything else, honestly, would feel real bad. But that's where we're at. So I'm hopeful. Schefter's making it sound like it's pretty much done and dusted. But I've learned over the years, it's not under until it's over, to throw a sports betting term out there. So I'll wait until I see the Kellen Moore sign on the dotted line, but hopefully Schefter's right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, get on down in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.